Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about G.I. Joe June, kind of a wrap-up. Seems like the most information we've gotten about G.I. Joe in a long time. In the last 24 to 36 hours, there's a roundtable, live streams, there's pre-orders that are up. There's a lot of information going forward for the next year or two, and with that, I'm going to cover all of it, everything I know, and a couple of pre-orders and a couple of sale items coming up. So I want to start out with talking about what's up for pre-order right now, and so this is the Crimson Viper, which looks pretty cool. We've already got Vipers, multiple different colors, the flopped of a 3-pack, so I'm sure this is going to be something people are going to go after. I'm probably going to pick one up just to have it, but I think overall it does look pretty cool, but we've been there, done that, and it starts to wear on me a little bit to keep getting the same figure over and over and over and over, but on the flip side, having a troop builder that's readily available is sort of a good idea for the line in a way, and seeing as it's not really taking a slot away from another figure, it's just kind of having something there to add to the wave, I guess. Anyway, this is what it comes with, this is what it looks like. Really, we're not treading any new ground here, it's just a recolor. But this is new ground. This is the Firefly. Now, this is what they were calling a retro Firefly, a retro style Firefly, but not in a retro packaging, standard packaging, and you can see kind of all the stuff that he comes with when it's geared up on him. And I think he does look considerably better than the first version that came out, which tells me we'll never see the first version again at retail, which is fine with me, but other people that are trying to catch up, it's going to make that one harder to get. Here we go with the box art and packaging. So we were told it was going to go back to the packaging with the plastic where you can see the figure, and they're still not there yet. And this is going into next year. It probably won't be out until sometime next year. And so with that, this is all the stuff that he comes with, and he's got quite a bit of a loadout and a pack out and all that good stuff there. So with it, I think that this is definitely a solid evolutionary figure, but still, we already have Firefly. But this is, in my opinion, much more retro and much better. So those are, I believe, mainline releases. This is the only one that is even slightly an exclusive, is this Nunchuck figure. Now, the Nunchuck figure is a fan channel exclusive, I believe, and you can pre-order it at several places, such as Entertainment Earth, BBTS, Chosen Prime, Amazon, all those places. So somebody said, and I haven't really validated it, but the majority of the body is just a recolor of Storm Shadow, so I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it's a cool looking figure. I don't know much about it, but ninjas always sell, and that green is really cool, and he was a figure in the 90s, which I don't actually have, and I don't have all the 90s figures, but here's what he looks like. He's got those claws, kind of look similar to Wolverine claws, that's kind of cool there, and then some nunchuck swords and dagger, and so it looks pretty good, a pretty solid figure, pretty solid release, and it's one that's not going to be too hard to get. Number 80. Oddly enough, I was most impressed with this. I do not like the Megatron His Tank or the Bumblebee AWE Striker. Should have been a Hound AWE Striker, something like that, something along those lines. Or not even Hound. Shouldn't have been Bumblebee. Let's just say that. Shouldn't have been Bumblebee. Anyway, I like the way this looks, even though it doesn't really make sense, because why is he turning into the sound wave, turns into Thunder Machine? Doesn't really make sense, but it looks good in both modes. It doesn't look great or perfect, but I think this is the best looking of these crossovers they've made, and you get two figures with this, and it is $100 though. It is $100. It is pricey. It's the first one of these crossovers that I've pre-ordered, and I plan to get, because I do think it looks like it. Also, the other thing is, look how big he is versus the figures. I think Megatron is probably about the same size too, but compared to the figures, that's feeling right to me. Like somebody is going to drive the Thunder Machine, and this is how tall a Thunder Machine would transform into a bot. Here he is from the back, and they've set it up to where they can man guns. That is cool. That is really cool. So this makes more sense. Maybe this is just the Transformer team having more time with this. Maybe this is the third one, so hey, this is what we could do, this is what we should be doing with this. Maybe it's just because the Thunder Machine already kind of looked like it was hodgepodge together from a Mad Max type of environment. Who knows? But I think that everything about this seems to be working better than the past ones. But when you actually look at Thunder Machine, So I like this because it doesn't look exactly like the vintage one, but a lot like the vintage one, and it just looks way more solid. I don't feel like you're going to be breaking that front grill piece. I don't feel like this thing is going to feel as flimsy as the vintage one. I think this one will just feel like a big, solid, hefty chunk of Thunder Machine, and with that, I think it is in fact going to be better than the vintage one. And I do kind of think all of the crossovers are solid in vehicle mode, so I just want to point that out. So now getting into the points from the roundtable, and I did kind of watch as much of this information as I could, try to get as much as I could. And so the first one is they wanted to say that Airborne is not going to be an unlock, a tier in the HasLab. It was never on my original list. This guy was not. Although after people pointed out, it sort of made sense that he'd be on there, but maybe as a redeco so we could get the standard one in the main line. But they said he will not be hidden behind a paywall, and they were developing this guy. Airborne was in development way before the HasLab, so Airborne's almost ready to be shown. Maybe this is the secret release figure they were talking about. Who knows? But Airborne's not part of it. But they also say there's going to be a second name-only announcement to stay tuned. So it's not Airborne. So there's going to be another name-only, which I could not find what's going on with that. So another name-only reveal, and I guess we might find that out tomorrow. Next thing they were discussing was a HISS 788 Fireteam 3-pack Pulse exclusive. Now I'm guessing that the 3-pack's going to be the unused colors in this set, so we get the rest of these. That's my guess. I might be wrong, but this is basically so that you can have some sort of a HISS tank driver type of figure on your shelf, which I never thought that you should make the HISS tank driver the only way to get it through the HasLab. So getting this 3-pack to get some sort of a HISS tank driver, some sort of a HISS tank set. Maybe there'll be a female character in there too. I don't really know what's going on with it. They haven't really gone into it, but they say that's something that's coming. So when they reveal that, of course, we'll know more details. But I'm kind of guessing we'll get at least 1, 2, if not 3. Hopefully with the purple guy. So they are talking about SDCC is going to be a very important panel, and there's going to be a lot of new renders. So I really think SDCC is going to be kind of on the level that we saw this month. This month, there's a lot that's been shown, nothing really earth-shattering, but it's just a solid month of showing. And I feel like we'll see about a similar showing at SDCC. But then again, it could be earth-shattering and groundbreaking because of the fact that we have other points coming up that they discussed and we'll be talking about. So they said the O-rings are on hold until further notice, and the situation with that is the fact that these are the only O-ring figures of the year. Now, did he say 2024? So all year of 2024? But he also said it opens up to recolors down the road for Zartan. Zarana does look different than the vintage one, which it's kind of cool. There's 2 vintage versions. Now you get a 3rd version here. I guess that's cool. But these are the only O-rings that are going to be offered. And they said O-ring is going to be on hold. That is actually sort of technically corporate speak for over. So it's over. But they don't want to come out and say it, so they want to soft introduce you to the idea of no more O-rings. And the thing is, yes, I've heard people talking about it. You can get most of the O-ring stuff vintage, relatively decent price. Some of the stuff is higher priced, and the higher priced stuff is the ones that we really obviously want to get reissued, or just getting them all on a card back is something that people want too. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for O-ring. The problem with O-ring, I could do a whole video about it, but just sum it all up, they don't have enough confidence to make it for retail at a $12 to $14 price point, 12 preferably, and put it at retail and to do a widespread, because they screwed up with the first retro and they didn't actually make it O-ring, and they made the worst versions of the characters for the most part. They screwed it up the first time, so they no longer have confidence in their own brand and their own toys, their own figures, to put them at retail anymore because they screwed up. Alright, so HasLab HISS Tank is scheduled for a fall release, and it's one of those things that people are complaining that the Dragonfly is coming. The Dragonfly is open right now for you to order, but we don't have our HISS Tank yet. So we don't know what the quality of a Hasbro product is going to be until the fall, after the HasLab for the Dragonfly is closed. So I still kind of feel like that's silly. I really don't think that they're going to be using really substandard plastic, and I don't think anyone's really going to be disappointed in this thing. I mean, if you are, you can return it, obviously, and You can still cancel your Dragonfly up to a point. But anyhow, that's the way I feel about this. It's coming in the fall. I think everybody's going to be happy about it. In fact, I also think they're going to make multiple different colors of this down the road. And some people have interjected they'll take the electronics out and they'll bare bone it to get the price down on the recolors. And so this HasLab is the only way you get all of this stuff in the package. But who knows what's going to happen in the future. And it also says they revealed some first look of first paint of the Dragonfly itself. So that's kind of cool. And we get to see the steel figure in there. So that's kind of cool. And they did kind of show that off. So showcasing that was kind of fun. The next point doesn't really make any sense to me. The only thing that makes sense in my head is which of these vehicles would you like to see? But that's not the way it was worded. It's worded all new, never before seen vehicles. And I don't think that is smart. I really think that, like, look at all these that could be made. And we're not making them. Doesn't make any sense. Why not? Still, we got the Fang, we got the Claw, we've got Night Landing, we got the Ferret, and we got Tiger Force reissues of a lot of these. We've got all these smaller vehicles that could be made, that already exist, that people crave and want. Why do you want to make another Coil? I hate the Coil. I don't like the Coil at all, and I don't want a whole bunch of other Coil-like vehicles. Am I in the minority, or does everybody kind of share my beliefs? All right, so the next point is that they said that the Dr. Mindbender and Serpentor are no longer available for reproduction. So they are looking for feedback on repaints, redesigns of the two figures. So I kind of feel like we should get an even more retro version of the two, of course, released by themselves with, in my opinion, bare bones. But I still think Serpentor is going to be a $35 price point no matter what. Like, they're going to put them out $35 price point, which would be like a $45 Chariot. You're not going to get Chariot anymore. That's no longer going to be available. They cannot make it again for whatever reason. And then Mindbender. People are talking about having the Cobra symbol on their capes because they're not on the originals. So that's a lot of talk about that kind of stuff. But I don't think this is definitely not the last we see of the figures. But it's the last we see the figures in these exclusive sets, and they'll have new numbers so that people that have the exclusive sets will feel compelled to rebuy them. Sure, that's how the whole scheme's going to go. So I want to go back to this fun picture because the G.I. Joe brand team is currently working on 2025 lineup of classified products, world building, and how they are going to expand the line even further. And again, I don't want them to expand the line into a bunch of made-up stuff that they just made up last week. I really want to go into the real American hero because this is really what's driving the brand right here. This is driving the brand. He did talk about the bivouac and all those kinds of things. So Lenny's mind's in the right place for the most part. I just hope it stays there, or I hope his influence stays there. So that would be awesome. Next up is talking about retro. Now this is the 25th anniversary. No, this is the one that you just couldn't get at the Walmart. So probably one of the better ones that they put out for the modern wave, but it was a fail because I never saw one. So anyhow, they're talking about classified retro-carded classified figures, looking for ways to make that available to a wider audience if possible in the future. And so with that, the problem with it is they're picking figures that are already peg warming and have low poor sales to include in this, like Lady J, and then they don't sell, so it looks like it's a flop. So there's a lot of characters they could put in here. Like a Duke would do well if it was like a retro style Duke, like a completely redone or slightly redone Duke. And that's just an idea, but that's kind of something. Maybe they're going to make it exclusive for Amazon or something. Who knows? I really think this is something that should be bought in the store though, because the shipping, these things get damaged. And then looking up all this stuff, I did notice that Super 7 stuff, it's not classified as Super 7, and it's a little bit bigger, but it's on sale on Amazon, and I'll link to this one here. So Snake Eyes, $45. So I think that's a pretty good deal. Should be getting free shipping on top of that. So it's $10 less than pretty much everywhere else. And it seems like the Super 7 stuff goes pretty cheap if you wait long enough. So that was a ton of information that we got over the last 24 to 48 hours along those lines. And I've got to say that it does answer a lot of questions, but of course, it does bring up more questions. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens at SDCC, and will we see a whole lot more stuff between then Now and then, probably not a lot, probably a little bit. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Tardarium Hanger out.